All right, Brian Haenchen and Danny Riego here with you. We're joined by Jared Rehmel, head coach of Linton-Stockton girls. Linton-Stockton has their semi-state game coming up. Jared, what's up?
How's it going, guys? Yeah, excited. Busy week.
Yeah, how's this week looked for you? Have you guys started practicing? Recording this on a Tuesday night, so have you guys had a couple practices under the belt already?
Yeah, we go pretty light on yesterday. Usually, we try to have a treatment day and light shooting, and try to do as much media as possible to try to get it out of the way on Monday. And then yeah, we had a good one today, and we'll have a couple more good ones, and then Friday we'll have it'll be a light kind of walkthrough type day, and get a lot of shots up and try to be ready for Saturday morning.
I'm curious for you. You led the team to state championships in 20 and 21. How is the media coverage and just I guess the interest overall in girls basketball? How has that evolved over since that even just 3-4 years ago?
Yeah, so whenever we took over, we won 2 games, so we didn't get a lot of media attention. It was a lot of negative attention, obviously, but we've had a lot of kids that really set the foundation for our program and what it takes to have a championship effort every day. And then obviously, a few years ago that class had that effort, plus they were skilled. So when you get those two combined, good things happen. And obviously the media's, obviously picked up since then, and it's a lot of fun, and our kids deserve every bit of it.
To go from 10, 12 wins over the course of 3 seasons to 20 in 2018, I mean, could you feel that coming along even as you're grinding through those first 3 seasons as coach?
Yeah, I mean, we knew it was going to be a process, and our kids had really bought in. They just hadn't, they just weren't at the skill set that they needed to be at yet. But we could tell in our younger grades that was kind of happening. Year 2, we had North Knox beat when we had 3 wins and they had 18, and it was just kind of that was a tipping point for us. I think we were up 5 with 20 seconds left and found a way to lose it. But our kids started to kind of believe after that what we were doing was working, and we were slowly taking those steps.
Sure. Looking at this year's team, obviously the big story for you guys was the sectional win over North Knox. But I'd like to start actually in the regular season, and specifically that tournament in Ben Davis. When you went out there, you beat Ben Davis and hung with, what was it, Roncalli and another 4A team. What did that do for your team just in terms of confidence? And is it fair to brand that as kind of like a turning point or a launching off point for this group?
Yeah, it absolutely is. We had a stretch there where we went Roncalli on the road, Ben Davis on the road, and then Warren Central pretty well on the road that was at Ben Davis. And I think the belief started happening for this team then. We knew that we had a chance, but once, we went up there and competed with those 3 teams and obviously got 1 win. And, the Warren Central game was a great game for us, and we lost it kind of there at the end. The belief started happening for this team, and they had a different mindset about them from that moment on.
Yeah, you talk about mindset. Coach, in one of these episodes, I actually called you the best coach south of Bedford, and that's largely due to the similarities in the postseason resumes, really, between you and Jeff Allen. So, you had the Vanessa Shafford teams that won back-to-back state championships. Here you are again in another semi-state. What is it about postseason basketball that gets you going and gets your program going?
Well, I think first of all, it's the regular season and preparing, trying to get the kids ready. There's a lot of days that are tough. There's a lot of days that are not fun to be at. But as the season goes on, and for us, it's probably going to sound silly, we get looser as it gets closer to the tournament. I think, the tighter that you get as a coach, or the more that you get nervous or whatever, the kids feed off of that. And we try to keep it as loose as possible when the tournament hits. And, the kids, we want them playing loose. And I think that helps, when it comes time and it matters the most, that they're kind of loose and confident and ready to play.
Well, before Hank gets into some of those players that you talked about, the Chambers and the Sherrills and all of that, just, globally, can you compare and contrast any similarities or differences between the state championship teams of the past and this team, just, kind of top level, 30,000 feet?
Yeah, I think it's we have players that are hungry to win, and they're willing to do what it takes to win. And if that means that we've got to have a 2-hour practice where they sit in a defensive stance for 20 minutes or 25 minutes at a time, and they got to run, or they've got to close out, or they've got to sit and, do back cuts for a long time, that's the same mindset. It's different players and it's different skill sets, but we have, kids that really want to win. And when you have that competitive nature, you tend to find ways to either win or make it close anyways.
Looking at some of the personnel there, let's start with your seniors, Brady Chambers and Sydney Geralds. I've seen their names been popping up a lot over the course of the season, and there's obviously the big games too. What is it about that sets those two seniors apart and has made them such a special part of this program?
Well, I think the first thing is, they were freshmen on the state championship team. So they were able to kind of grow through watching how those kids went about their business and what it took and the sacrifices it took. So after seeing that, they were already skilled, but then they got in the gym and they continue to work and they continue to get better, and they want to be coached. So, when you're coming in and at 6 a.m. and you're getting your shots up, or you're doing your ball handling, or you're doing whatever, that separates you from a lot of kids. And they were willing to sacrifice that time and probably some social life to get to the level that they're at. And, Brady, they're two different guards. Brady's like a combo guard that can play the point position, but also can really score it. And she's really good at using her body and getting in the lane and creating angles. And then, Sid is just super athletic, and she's learned to, change directions and change speeds. So when you have a kid that's pretty fast and pretty quick with a high IQ that's changing speeds, you're able to be successful.
Yeah, I think both those kids, they were remarkable against North Knox. I think they scored all of your points, but maybe the one free throw in the last maybe 10 seconds. So Brady specifically, she had 33 against North Knox in the sectional championship game. I screened your regional championship game against North Decatur, where she only had 12, but it was 2 assists. I think one with about 3 minutes left, and then one where she drove baseline and kind of dropped it across the paint for 2 assists, which you didn't know you needed at the time, but you actually did need them to close that game out. Talk about her, man. Just take it to another level with her, because she seems like a kid she's always high-fiving the teammates. She's always talking to you. You guys seem to have a great relationship. She seems to be one of the leaders. Just talk about her and what she's meant to this run.
Well, I mean, she's incredible. And I would be silly not to say, obviously I'm biased, I think she's an Indiana All-Star. I mean, she's averaging 19 a game and 7 rebounds a game. And like you said, she makes everybody around her better constantly. And that's what it takes, and the belief has to come from somewhere with the rest of the team. And with her and Sid both, the other kids believe because of her. So they raise their level of play as well, because she doesn't want to lose. And when your leaders have that mentality, the other ones are going to follow. So, she's just an incredible kid, incredible teammate. And I've been fortunate to be able to coach her for the last 4 years.
One of the other kids that came up big for you was Addison McKee. I saw she sank the couple free throws there late to help seal that win over North Decatur. I mean, just an ice in her veins type situation for that young lady.
Yeah, I'm so happy for her, because she's probably not had the offensive year that she's wanted to have or she expected to have. And she could have pouted, or she could have, kind of put her head down, but instead she's guarded for us. She's rebounded for us. She's handled the ball more for us. She became she's always been a good teammate, but she's just a phenomenal teammate, whatever it takes to win. And for her to be able to hit a couple shots late and to make those free throws, it was just like a perfect scenario for a kid that really deserves it, because again, there's a lot of kids out there that probably not scoring like they want. So they're not going to be as engaged as what they should be.
Is that a learned behavior? Is that something that she came in with? Is that like a byproduct of the program and the success that you've had?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of that, but I think it's also maturity. She's played varsity for 3 years. She played, a lot of minutes as a freshman, and then she started every game last year for us last year. So I think it's just, you become an upperclassman and you mature, and that can go one of two ways. And, for us, luckily it went a way that all she wants to do is win. And, being older and wanting it that bad, then you are willing to do whatever it takes. So, kudos to her. It's not, she gets all the credit for that.
One question about section before we pivot and look at Brownstown Central and what lies ahead for you at semi-state. Just that atmosphere at North Knox. I've seen some of the pictures. I've heard some of the video. I mean, it looked like an unbelievable experience just to be in that gym that night.
Yeah, it was incredible. The Friday night atmosphere, obviously, and the Saturday night atmosphere. I mean, it's a win for girls basketball is what it is. And when you show up to the gym and there's a line out the door and the tickets are sold out, that's a big deal. And that's what we told our kids, like, embrace this, enjoy this, because, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, this wasn't happening. And now you guys are, playing in front of a sold out, packed out house, and people are talking about it. And, that's why I appreciate what you guys do too, because, the more we can talk about it, the more we can get people out. I think the more that they enjoy it. And, our kids were ready, obviously, for that Saturday night. They were ready for that moment, and they never backed down.
Were there any nerves in that situation? Like, could you tell, were they feeling the butterflies a little bit, or were they ready to go?
It was really weird. Before we left Saturday, our shoot around, it was probably the loosest I've seen our team all year. And we were getting ready to walk, to end shoot around, and they played Cotton Eye Joe, and the whole team started dancing. And it just like, it was a sense of calm on the team that you hope to see. You hope it's not too loose, but I'm sure they were nervous. I'm sure that they had the butterflies, but they were ready to play. That was the game that they wanted all year. They had really, it hurt last year when they beat them, and our two seniors and obviously our upperclassmen. That was the game they wanted. And a fun fact, I guess, is North Knox hadn't scored 40 against us since 2018. So we knew that, we could keep them in the 30s. We just had to, we had to somehow get to 38 to 40, somewhere around there, to have a chance to win.
That's a remarkable stat.
It really is.
Yeah.
That's really impressive. So what about you? Like, do you get nervous in those games? Do you get chills? Or are you feeling it a little bit in your stomach? Or are you icy and ready to go?
I mean, I'd be lying to you if I would say I wasn't nervous. Like, that's what makes it fun. That's the competitor in me. That's like, once the game starts, you're fine. But of course, leading up to the game and everything, you're as a coach, for me, I'm thinking about every possible scenario that could happen at the end of the game or during the game, and what we would do. But once you get in there and the game starts, it's like anything else. It's time to focus and be ready to go.
Looking now at Brownstown Central, I'll just start broadly. You've had a chance to scout them on film a little bit. What jumps out to you when you see Brownstown Central?
Well, they execute at a high level. Coach Allman does a great job, and their kids, you can tell they're well coached. They're going to execute to a T. They're going to crash the boards hard. They've got 4 or 5 girls that are athletes. That are going to go try to get every single rebound. So we've got to understand that as a group, that if we don't defensive rebound, then it's going to be a long morning for us.
Well, just interestingly, I mean, so Hank's question is about Brownstown Central specifically, but this weekend is different than regional and sectional, and the fact that you now have 3 opponents that you need to be ready for in a singular day. How do you philosophize the balance of the scouts? Are you, one game at a time kind of thing? We'll deal with the 8 p.m. game as it comes, or are you putting plans in place for all 3 basketball teams or any scenario? How do you philosophize that?
Well, I think the most important thing is the morning game. The second game and the other 2 teams do not matter if you're not totally locked in and focused on the morning game. But you would also be silly not to have a plan ready for the other 2 teams in the championship, because ultimately your goal is to win 2 games, and so you have to be ready for that. And luckily, I've got great assistant coaches that they're watching Sheridan and Eastern Hancock right now. And I'll watch a little bit of it, but really my main focus is Brownstown Central, and that's the way our kids have to look at it, because we always say every game in the postseason is a championship, because if you lose, you're done. So, you know, we'll be ready. We'll be ready if we're fortunate enough to get to the championship, but we'll have our eyes on Brownstown Central, and that they'll have our total focus.
So, Jared, I have a follow-up on that. I mean, if you look at the North Knox game, it seemed like you spread them out, attacked them off the bounce, tried to create some gaps for Sherrills and Brady, and it obviously worked. But again, in North Decatur, you seem to have a lot more dribble handoff action. You were trying to put Kuntz and their other post players in kind of hedge on ball action. As you approach this weekend, is it just going to be about what you do, or are you really big on kind of putting individual game plans on as to what you think will work against a specific opponent? Because it seems like it's the latter.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's more we do what we do, but we look at our concepts and see how they're going to guard it, and then that's how we'll prepare for that game. Yes, so each individual game will be a little bit different. Because we can't do what we did against North Knox every game, because that's just not the way the way the game is for us. So yeah, we wanted to do some completely different stuff against North Decatur, but it's stuff that we do every single day. We do ball screen work every day. We do dribble handoff work every day. Now, how are they going to guard it? Are they going to have drop coverage? Are they going to hard hedge it? Or are they going to double it? And then that's what we'll try to attack it that way. Is it a team that we want to try to score, get an early action, a flare screen, or, a speed cut into a double or triple gap? Or do we want to play a little more methodical and try to, slow it down and run our offense and wait for a good shot? I think that's, that's the main thing when we're looking at different games.
Yeah, Haenchen land the plane, but I just wanted to compliment you. I thought when you watch two games consecutively and the game plans are very different, you seem to be in a rhythm right now. So your eyes are fitting. You're able to execute. You're identifying. You're implementing a plan. You're executing on a game day. It's really impressive. So congratulations, man. It's fun to watch from one coach to another.
I appreciate that. I got to give credit to the players. Obviously, if you don't have good players that are bought into everything, then you don't get to this level. I also got to give a shout out to Coach Whaley at Indiana Wesleyan, because he's I've bounced a lot of ideas off of him, and he's helped me a ton. So, but yeah, I appreciate it, and I know our players appreciate it too.
Jared, I had one more big picture question for you. You've been through both formats now with the semi-state 2-game, regional 2-game. Do you have a preference or thoughts on between the two?
I'm probably old school. I like the 2-game regional. I think you still have a little bit of rivalries there in the regionals. There's just something about the 2-game regional that I really enjoy. I'm not complaining. Like I told our kids, you tell us where to play and when to play, and we'll go play it. I know that there was a lot of discussion on travel or seeding the tournament or whatever. That's fine. I don't care either way. You just tell us where to play, and we're going to go play. But for me, I like the old regional format. I like playing 2 games in the regional, and you're still kind of familiar with the teams. They're still semi-local, and you've got a lot of common opponents, and there's still a little bit of, I wouldn't call it bad blood, but the kids know each other that, in the regionals a little bit more. So I enjoy the 2-game regional.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, thanks again for jumping on with us, Coach, and best of luck to you guys on Saturday.
I appreciate it. And I do watch the podcast. So I enjoy your guys' episodes, and the way you guys break it down, and you guys talking about girls basketball, I think is great for the entire state. So appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Good luck, Jared.